get it nice and take the rubber band, twist it, you can make it a little tighter than a normal rubber band usually is without twisting it, right? You put this rubber band, you wrap it around a few times, you start to realize it gets pretty tight there. And we put this around the pen here. What we have now is an enmeshment relationship. So, what I show here is, what I'm trying to show here is, if I can get my hand in here, because this is pretty hard here. What comes about now is, you see, if I held my hand up like this, and you never saw the pen, you wouldn't even know if the pen was there. Looks like it's just a hand. I mean, obviously there's a rubber band there, but you don't know if there's anything behind my hand. I mean, there is, but we don't know for sure if you didn't see the pen earlier. And that's the point of an enmeshment relationship. It's described as a condition in which the identities of two people in a relationship have blended into one person, pretty much. And so, you see that snapping back just isn't working. And actually, Jonathan, would you come up here for a second? I want to let you see how hard this is. Like, try and just pull the pen away from my hand. I just want you to feel like how hard that is. It's not coming to, and that's pretty hard there, huh? It's not coming apart. And that is the type of where interdependence was good, having two separate things. This enmeshment relationship is definitely not good. But what would you say is the difference between an interdependent relationship, or interdependence relationship, and an enmeshment relationship?
Who it's with?
What do you say?
Who the relationship's with?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, yes, you could have different ones with, like, your parents or a coach, for example. That's a good example. Like, some coaches, like, get so, like, close to you that they want to micromanage your career, whether it's, you need to be wrestling this weight, or some parents. Actually, it reminds me of this story that my friend's dad, his name was John, and John was a great football player. He actually went to the University of Michigan, had a great career, and his dream was to one day reach the NFL. That's all he wanted. So he worked every day he could to reach that goal. And he didn't, because he ended up having an ACL tear, and it ruined his career, and he just couldn't come back, and he missed the draft, and he never got into the NFL. And so he was kind of disappointed, obviously, that he didn't reach his dream. But he had a son, and his son was one of my friends. His name was Jeremy. And he took Jeremy from a young age and trained him to be an NFL athlete. He wanted him to live out his dream that he couldn't. So he put him in at a young age in every football camp he could, every team he could find, the best team out there. He made sure his son was always practicing and always doing the best he could to be that NFL player that he could never be. And that's kind of like this enmeshment relationship that I was telling you about, because the father became so connected, connected with that bond between the two of them, that the son didn't even know if he liked the football even. He was just doing it because he loved his dad, and his dad told him, this is what you need to do. So he didn't even know. Like, if you'd ask him, he'd be like, well, I mean, I like NFL, or I like football, but I don't know if I love it. It's just, it makes my dad happy. So that's something I've always wanted to do, and I think that I need to do to make him happy. And so those are the type of relationships that we want to avoid, because it's not healthy for us, for one, either end, either the parent or the child, because the child's end of it, obviously you don't want a parent who's controlling your whole life, because then you're going to want to rebel and get out of that. And on the parent's side, it's going to be really hard when that child finally breaks away, because they have to. Eventually, they're going to leave and go to college, or go get a job, or go to vocational school. Like, they're going to do something. So you can't have this unhealthy connection. You have to have that snapping back. That's what we're trying to achieve. So, how would you feel, Jonathan, if you were in a relationship like Jeremy and John?
Like I had no room to breathe?
No. Were you going to say something else?
No, that's pretty much it. Like I had no room to do my own thing, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not the most healthy relationship you'd want to be in, or one you'd strive to be in, because, like I was saying, it's just bad for both sides. And that's what we always have to remember. Like, we get focused on the pen, because that's us, but there's also the hand, which is the parent. and there's both sides of that story to the snapping back. It affects both of us because that rubber band connects the hand and, or the student and the parent. But now I want to switch gears a little bit. We're not going to get too in-depth in these, but I want to introduce you. I remember earlier I said that there was how many developmental tasks? Does anyone remember?
8.
8, correct. Awesome. So, like I said earlier, there's 8 of them. And we're just going to briefly kind of go over some of them here. So, we're just going to go over these briefly to get an introduction for lessons down the road. Developmental task number 1, achieving a new and more mature relationship with age mates of both sexes. So obviously, in high school, you have your guy friends and your girlfriends. Some of you might be dating, and that's fine, but we want to make this transition to a more mature relationship because you would say that there's a difference between the relationship you have with your buddy here in high school and the relationship your parents have with each other. So we're going to strive towards a more mature relationship. Developmental task number 2, achieving a masculine or feminine social goal. In schools and everywhere in life, obviously you put people in roles, like there's females and there's males. And this goal, this developmental task is for us to achieve that specific goal. And we'll get further into that, but this is just a brief introduction. 3, accepting one's physique. You want to be okay with your body, whether you're a big guy who can go bench like 325 pounds, all muscular, or you're the guy who's not very athletic and is on the chest wall. It doesn't matter, as long as you're okay with your physical physique. And there's a lot more to that. 4, the one we've been talking about the whole time, the most important one I want you guys to remember today. Achieving emotional interdependence from the parent or the coach or whoever that person is in your life. 5, preparing for marriage and family life. Now, not everyone will get married necessarily. Some of you will. But you want to be ready for it when it comes. You're going to get to a time where you might meet that special someone. Hopefully you all do. And you want to be ready for that when that time comes. And, let's see, number 6, preparing for an economic career. Now, all of you might not go to college. Some of you will, to try and get this job that you want. Some of you may go straight into the job field. But we want you now to start preparing for that economic career, whatever it ends up may be, because we don't want to come out unprepared, because there's bad circumstances with that. 7, acquiring a set of values and an ethical system as a guide to behavior developmental tasks. So you want to have a set of what some people call core values, or something that is like your true north, your compass, that no matter what, when you get stuck somewhere, you say oh hey, I don't think it's okay to tell a lie here, so I better get away from these people because I know that I don't want to lie. Or maybe it's, hey, these people are doing illegal things and I don't want to be involved with that, so I need to face this way away from them and go back on my path. Last one, developing a social conscience, kind of goes along with that as well. You want to have something in life when you're going through social situations with your buddies and with your eventual coworkers that kind of says, hey, I don't know if this is the right thing. You kind of get that feeling in your stomach, oh man, I don't know if this is the right thing. Or sometimes it's, even a day-to-day thing where it's oh hey, I dropped a piece of paper on the ground. Should I go back and pick it up? I don't know. But you want to have that social conscience develop so you feel strong enough with it and you're not just ignoring it completely or giving every whim of your day to it. My timer stopped, but it's okay. What we want to go with now is, normally I would break you guys up into buzz groups, but seeing as we don't have full class attendance today, that's not going to work out so well. So, what I have planned here for you guys is another little thing. This is kind of exciting. I know how much you guys like tests and quizzes. So, what I have here is a quick 5-question quiz here. I'm going to start a little timer here and take what's called a power quiz. So you'll have 5 minutes to complete this with an online timer here. once I hand it out. So I'm going to hand it out.